I want to share with you an overlooked secret about Scottie Scheffler's golf swing that helped him claim another Masters victory and could help you become lethal with your irons just like him. Let's get stuck into this lesson. Before we start this lesson though guys, make sure you are a subscriber to the channel, hit the button down there, it's totally free to do. Let's find out what it is that Scottie Scheffler did to make him so prolific with his irons and his driver. So as we've just seen that shot there now, and if I throw up some of the data up in the corner here from our launch monitor, what you'll be able to see if I just circle a few of the numbers here and why this is relevant to Scottie Scheffler is that the numbers are very, very neutral. Now, the big thing obviously that gets focused on about his swing is that as we watch him and we see him make a golf swing, we see a lot of fancy footwork afterwards. But what we're not focusing in on is this big main factor, his secret, almost his secret weapon that is helping him hit these shots there with real small margins of movement in the club delivery into the golf ball. The path there was 1.17 for me, and my club speed was pretty good, 95 miles an hour and 189 yards of carry for a 6-iron, and that was all down to how I was holding the golf club. Now, what you might have seen during the Masters was that Scottie Scheffler was actually hitting balls with a training aid here, and I'll just throw in an image of what that training aid looks like, and it's just a simple grip. And the reason why I think I want to do this lesson and why I think it is his secret sauce is because yes, we hear his footwork being talked about a lot, and that's just something personal for him. You know, I wouldn't advise you to go out on the driving range and start dancing around on the mat trying to actually time your strike up. But what I would advise is to try and copy his grip, because what we see from his grip is that it is so neutral, so that when he actually grips the golf club now, he is in ultimate control of that club face. So even if his feet are getting a little bit out of whack, he's still able to have a face that is really square and really neutral and deliver on a nice neutral arc into the golf ball with the club face looking down towards that target and working nicely in tune with his club path. Hence why we see him being so laser-like with his irons. He hits so many greens, and then when it gets to even driving of the golf ball, I think he's underestimated in how long he actually is when it comes to his length off the tee. And that also comes down to his grip, because if I hold this golf club in an incorrect manner, firstly, I'm going to affect the orientation of the club face. But secondly, I'm actually going to affect the amount of levers and the leverage I can create during my golf swing. And I'm going to have to do a lot of manipulation down at the golf ball with my hands, trying to actually organize this club face. So if he was doing that on top of his feet going everywhere, I don't think we see him being as laser-like as he was. So really simple. I'm just going to hit a shot here for us now, actually just demonstrating if I were to go into a real extreme with my grip, if I were to get really strong with my left hand. So for a right-handed player, that would be where my left hand sits on top of the club a little bit more, and my right hand sits underneath the grip of the club a little bit more, almost as if my palm was facing out towards my face now. And if we just see what this does to the numbers that we've seen on screen a second ago, we'll see a big drastic difference in this, and we'll also see a change in the ball flight. So I've actually struck it really nice, but it's not found the fairway. It's curving an awful lot, and those numbers are starting to change. I'm just going to throw those up on screen here for us now. So as we see that shot going out there and we see the numbers just put alongside it, we can see that firstly the shot wasn't as straight. It was actually looping from right to left. It resulted in a missed fairway. Obviously I wouldn't be trying to hit this fairway here on the north course at Quinta del Lago with my 6-iron, but ultimately I want to try and hit it pretty straight every time. I won't want to be working it too much unless a scenario where I was in the trees maybe and I needed to bend it called for that. But what we see straight away is that in those numbers, because of how I was holding the club there in that extreme position, some changes start to happen. My path doubles from out to in from what it was. My club head speeds actually dropped quite a few miles an hour, and my ball speed's dropped a mile an hour. The spin has gone down because I've not got as much of a downward blow on it and as much of a efficient strike. I've actually got more of a glancing blow and that drawy spin on it. So from there, ultimately, if I was doing that 18 times during a golf round, just because I changed my grip ever so slightly, it becomes harder for me to actually get my ball near the target, all because of, like I say, how my hands are on this golf club. So whether you do go and buy one of the grips and actually stick it on a 7-iron and just start to actually get a little checkpoint and see where you are with it, that's okay. If not, what you can do is when you're down at the driving range, or even when you're coming down to the golf course, I want you to take 2 T-pegs, and all I simply want you to do is just squeeze them into your thumbs like so. So we see, if you clench your fist, you'll have 2 T-pegs popping up here. And what we want to try and do when we now grip this golf club, I want to try and see that my T's are looking pretty neutral, almost pointing forwards here. The left one, the top one, when I get my left hand on, I get it in the fingers, and I see there, it's just pointing straight down and almost lined square with the blade of my golf club. It's not too one way, and it's not too the other way. I'm going to try and get it nice and neutral. And the same goes for when I actually get this hand on. I want to see that, again, they're sort of mirroring one another now. Because what that firstly does is, if I've got a nice square club face as I grip it, I'm able then to maintain this club face throughout my golf swing. I can create some levers through my wrists, I can unload them at the appropriate time, whilst knowing that as I'm doing this, I'm not having to counteract a club face that is either too short, resulting in me shifting my path to the right as I hold it to get that drawy one, or if my face was too open, I would shift my path to the left to get a bit steeper, trying to get that slicey one and get the club working back toward, the ball back towards target. So get it on, and what we want to see is that basically the 2 T's are poking up a little bit more neutral, a bit more up towards the sky or out to you on the camera, not too far behind you or not too far out in front of you. And once you do this, just have some practice swings and you'll start to feel, like I say, that face being a little squarer as we're going throughout our golf swing. From there then, if you're comfortable with it, I want you to just hit one off, because what I should see here, as opposed to the one I hit a moment ago, is a little bit more of a neutral ball flight now. A lovely strike there, a tiny fade, and I've hit the fairway and it felt like a much better shot. And what I've been able to do is get those numbers back up there. My path drops, my club head speed gets back up, my ball speed rises, my distance goes up, all because everything I'm doing just by holding the grip a little bit more neutrally is allowing that face to work in the manner that it should be and doing what it should be doing throughout the golf swing, as opposed to me having to try and fight it. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed that drill there. Real simple, but one that can lead to some seriously consistent golf shots if you do it. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure you leave us a little like and subscribe as always, and we'll see you in your next lesson very soon.